Welcome to the New Planner Podcast, where it's all about helping you successfully enter the financial planning profession and accelerate your financial planning career. This podcast will help you understand the profession, become familiar with the various career paths available to you, and avoid the mistakes that limit your success. Join your host, Caleb Brown, to explore the human side of creating a successful planning career through interviews, personal experience, and insights from the trenches. Let's get started.
Welcome to the 221st episode of the New Planner Podcast. This is Caleb Brown, your host. My guest today is Prudence Zhu, who is the founder and CEO of Enso Financial. Prudence joins the show today to share her transition from corporate America to financial planning. She shares how she learned about the profession and finally took the plunge to quit her corporate job and start her own firm through the Garrett Planning Network. She goes on to share the challenges she has encountered over the last 2 years in getting the businesses off the ground while raising 2 small children, also how she had to realign her expectations on her initial goal metrics. Stay tuned to the end to hear how she integrates life planning into her financial planning process. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Prudence Zhu. Hi, Prudence. Welcome to the New Planner Podcast.
Hi, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for reaching out. I mean, I know you've got a really cool story, and I can't wait to just walk through it and see how it unfolds. And I know our listeners will be interested. Maybe if you'll just set the stage for us on how you became aware of the financial planning profession and why you decided to pursue a career as a financial planner.
Lovely. So my story is a little bit different. I'm a career switcher. So everything started when I was on my second maternity leave. And I was thinking, I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. Back then, I was still in the corporate finance world. I was a finance manager for a big company with great work-life balance. And I was like, okay, I've tried a couple times part-time setting up my company, but this time I'm really going to, go all out and see if it's right for me. So I got another master's degree at Arizona State University on innovation and venture development. And it's a 1-year process to help you from start your idea, do the market research, build the business plan, prototyping, and try to scale it. So through that 1 year, I interviewed maybe 100 people in the finance industry, and somehow I got really attracted to the fee-only financial planning sector. And then that's what I decided to do, and here I am. Quit my corporate job March 2023 and started a financial coaching company while I was still in the master's program, and started a RIA, fee-only, part of Garrett Planning Network, November of 2023. So I'm getting close to 4 years on my own and a little bit more than a year running my RIA.
Wow, that's amazing. A lot there to unpack, and I do want to explore that. But maybe just stay with this. I mean, how's it going? I mean, 2 years. No, you said 1 year into the RIA, 2 years in the coaching business. Did I get that right? How's it going?
It's really fantastic. It's like, I think maybe a couple months ago, I was talking to my husband. It's like, had anybody told me that it's double the work compared to a corporate job, but less than half the pay, and there are so many highs and lows, it's just wild ride. I probably would have never quit my corporate job. Like, I didn't have the courage to do it. But having gone through all that, I wouldn't change what I do today.
Okay, got it. So you just said I probably wouldn't have quit my corporate job. And there's a lot of people out there that are on the sidelines, just like you, like, oh, I've got this big salary and I've got these great benefits and, maybe I don't have work-life balance, but I just can't pull the trigger. I think you mentioned you were on maternity leave and you want to start your own business, but what gave you the courage just to go ahead and take the leap?
I think back then, I really saw the huge market demand because I'm a CPA. I started with tax planning, and knowing how much the market needed it and how big the potential is, I had the courage to just pull the trigger. But I didn't realize it would take so much longer than I expected. So I feel like I had some blind optimism going in, but now realizing, okay, it is hard, but it's incredibly rewarding as well. Because I'm the person who can decide who I work with, what I spend my time on. And amazingly, I got to know the people I never would have met in my corporate career. Like a lot of mentors and continued education and other method of improving business and personal growth.
And so you got the CPA while you were in corporate America. That was before the financial planning career.
Correct.
Yeah. And maybe, so you got CPA, then you sat for the PFS. So maybe just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually sat for CFP. And then I realized, okay, once I passed the CFP exam, I could qualify for PFS. So a little bit more about the certificate. So PFS is another sort of a branch certificate under CPA. It stands for Personal Finance Specialist. So for me, the only difference between the PFS and the CFP is CFP requires 6,000 hours of work experience, but PFS only requires 3,000. Whereas for education and exam, their requirements are kind of the same. So I qualified for a PFS first. That's what I used first. But really, your clients don't really see the difference.
So you're a CPA, PFS, and a CFP?
I will get my CFP this July.
Okay. You're waiting for the work experience. Got
Yes.
it. Okay. All right. All right. Make sure. Very impressive. Yeah, that's amazing. Love the tax focus. I want to go back to something you said earlier. You said you started your firm on Garrett Planning Network. So talk to us more about that and maybe like why you didn't choose some of the other vendors like XYPN.
Yeah, absolutely. So how I got to know Garrett is through a externship with Amplified Planning. It's a great program. One of the guests mentioned she works for Garrett, and it's a network that provides accessible planning to the wide population, and that got me really interested. So I studied a little bit more, and it's a wonderful network, and I am passionate about expanding financial planning and fiduciary advisor or advisory service to the general public rather than just the high net worth. So it's just the value is like highly aligned. And in Garrett, it's really interesting. So last year I went to their annual retreat. I got away with it's a 90% of the people in Garrett has over like 2 decades of work experience, and they are passionate, super passionate about personal finance and helping other people. So they're doing more for the passion rather than making money. So for me, a little bit about myself. So I gained my financial independence through my corporate career. And I sometimes say I retired from my corporate career back in 2023, which is true. So for me, money is not a main motivator. So passion is the bigger driver here.
Okay, that's interesting. So what I just heard was, hey, I did really well in my corporate world. I've got enough money where I probably don't have to work any longer, but I choose to start my own firm and go through the ups and downs and work twice as hard. And is that what I heard?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I didn't know that. Like coming in, so I have a YouTube channel, Invest with Prudence. Before I quit my job, I had a projection like 3 years, I'll be making as much as I made in a corporate career. And then 5 years, I'll be doubling that. This is overly optimistic. Like, I don't know, like the first 2 years, I'm already like falling behind.
And maybe talk more about that because there's other people contemplating. I mean, just what do you think are more reasonable assumptions? If someone's taking the plunge, let's just say they're making $100,000 in their corporate job and they start a financial planning firm from scratch. I mean, how long? I know there's a lot of variables there, but how long do you think that they should plan for?
3 or 4 years. Yeah.
3 or 4 years.
And that
Okay.
takes
Yeah.
a lot of dedication and a lot of networking. So I think back to your mentioning like why I didn't choose other platforms. I did go to a lot of the conference. I went to XY Live in Denver a few years ago and got to know a lot of wonderful people. And one of the chart that actually encouraged me to jump in was their trajectory for first year, second year, third year. And I was like, oh, this is like manageable. I don't have to worry about what they call it, like ramen and rent money, because I have, passive income from my other assets. And so I was like very optimistic. It's like, yeah, it's going to be like a no-brainer. But 2 years in, as I think back on the stats, I realized, okay, there's a lot of people who quit this path in year 1 and year 2 if they don't go very well. So that makes, it's kind of a self-selecting data. It's like people who stay longer are the people who were doing well and chose to stay.
Gotcha. And maybe too, just explain how these, or at least Garrett, but I think they're all pretty similar, how these networks work. I mean, they provide you a suite of services, you pay some sort of monthly fee. I mean, can you just expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so XYPN is XY Planning Network. They charge around $400 to $500 per month for you to become a member. And then you get access to a bunch of technology solutions like software you have to use in your financial planning practice. And they also provide a very engaging and active community of, I think it's a Facebook group. And then they also have the annual retreat. They also have continued education resources. The one thing different about Garrett is that they also have referrals because Garrett has been existing for close to 3 decades now. And a lot of podcasts recommend Garrett. They have a website that actually provides referrals to their 200 something members. And actually, more than half of the members are not accepting new clients. So as you can see, yeah, so
That's
it's
good for you, right?
exactly. I mean, that's very attractive for someone who's starting the business because they do provide a lot of referrals.
And I was going to ask you, I mean, like, how are you getting clients? Is it all from the Garrett network and Garrett referrals, or are you doing other things?
I'm doing a bunch of other things. So right now it's half from Garrett, and the other half is from networking, my social media, friends and family referrals. And this year, when things start to happen, that's why I mentioned you need to stay in the game for the long run, was the past 2 years has been friends and family networking, social media, because I run YouTube and LinkedIn. This year, something interesting happening is that center of influence are reaching out to me. So other companies who are not providing the service that I'm providing to my clients, like one company doesn't provide AUM, so they are partnering up with me to provide AUM to their clients. And another company doesn't provide business valuation. Because I do provide that. I have a CPA and a certified business valuation specialist designation. So I could provide business valuation to other companies. So I would consider them like center of influence. And I don't think that those would come to you in the first 2 years because you're still establishing yourself and you need to prove that you're in the game.
Yeah, I have a similar story. When I started the recruiting business, I just reached out to all the practice management consultants, and there wasn't that many of them then. There's thousands of them now, I feel like. And I said, look, if you're talking to one of your clients and they need to hire someone, just, put me in your bag of solutions there, and I'd love to talk with them. And because they already had the client base built up versus me just trying to build it one at a time. And that actually worked out. It sounds like that's
There you
working
go,
for you.
center of influence.
Yeah, it's working for you too. Okay, cool. So AUM, assets under management. So you're doing, well, just walk us through the business. I'm a new client. I go to Garrett, I put my information in, and I get referred to you. Talk to me about what happens then.
Yeah, so everybody on Garrett has a little bit different process. Like one thing in common is that you usually set up a meeting and then you will have a initial discovery call, see if you are a good fit for each other. And then they will send out the ADVs and engagement letter if it's a good fit and then start the engagement. And for me, I don't call my clients to set up a phone call. I just use Calendly and they will set up a meeting from there.
Automated, right? I want automated. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do you know if we're a good fit? How do you determine that?
That's something I'm still learning because at the beginning I did have some clients that are not good fit, but now I'm offering them hourly service for any new clients. So it's basically, okay, let's do a session to review your portfolio, or let's do a session to review your tax situation. And from there, we can decide if we want to do a comprehensive plan. And after the comprehensive plan, we can say, okay, let's see if you want to come back every year or every other quarter, or you want me to manage your AUM. I think that's been working very smoothly. So basically, let's start with something small and then something comprehensive, and then let's build the relationship to meet every year, basically.
So I can pay you hourly. You'll look at my taxes, you'll look at my investments. And then if we both feel like it's a good fit, there's another sort of comprehensive fee or something for a full engagement. Is that how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a comprehensive plan, and it's so one thing special about Gary is that all the members on the Gary are required to offer hourly service, and I think it works very well in the sense that in that way you can offer your service to more bigger population and help them however it's helpful to them, and basically meet them where they are. Because I had people who had a couple of engagements, like maybe a couple years back, and now they are finally ready to have a full comprehensive plan. Especially when my clients are younger, like one by session engagement that's really popular is tax review. It's basically a read back of their tax situation, their tax brackets, the tax credit they can use, and observations and recommendations on the state and federal level. A lot of things come out during that one session.
I bet. I bet you can find a lot and add value and sort of get the relationship started off on the right foot. Sounds like you're sort of using that to open it up to a bigger relationship.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one thing I found out is that people who are eager to take action and implement are usually the people who progress faster to a comprehensive plan. Because once they see the benefit of taking actions, they will be like, okay, what's next? What else can I do? Like, how do I make it more, aligned with my values and life goals?
How have you handled the people that you've brought aboard that aren't good fits? What have you done with them?
They will stay in my newsletter and they will follow my YouTube channel. Whenever they are ready, I'm ready.
Oh, okay. So I'm just talking like if you ever had a client that was a bad fit that you didn't want to work with, how did you fire them?
Oh, I would be very honest with them. I would say, sorry, I don't think I can help you. So yesterday, there was a prospect. I was very honest, and she really appreciated the
Yeah.
honesty. And usually, I would say, okay, maybe look around. Maybe other Garrett members or other, fee-only network people can help you out. And sometimes it's actually financial therapist that they need,
Okay. Interesting.
or cash flow debt consultants or coaches.
Yeah. I do think people appreciate the directness because they're used to being sold and vendors saying, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do this. And like trying to be everything to everybody. And I know, there's been a few times when I've told firms, "I'm sorry, I can't recruit for you." And they're completely shocked. Like, well, what do you mean? You're a vendor. You're
Right.
trying to grow your revenue. Like, no, that's not the way it works, and they're like just befuddled. So it just kudos for sticking to your guns on, hey, I'm not just going to take everybody.
Yeah, because if it's a good fit, it's going to be beneficial to both parties, and they're going to be giving you referrals, and they're going to, raving about you. They're going to remember you, all that good things. If it's not a good fit, it's draining for the planner, and it's also not a customer experience for the client.
And it sounds like you weren't necessarily financially motivated to do all this. I mean, is there a goal that you have in your head? Like, I want to work with 10,000 people or whatever it is. What's the goal here? What are you trying to do?
So I have two goals. One is more like consumer education oriented. And so towards that goal, I want to make trustworthy and independent financial advice or information available to as many people as possible. And to that end, I'm writing a book this year on couples and money.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. And my other goal is to change or shift the composition of the industry a little bit. I really want to encourage more women and planner of color into the business. So I want to establish a business model that could be replicated by other newcomers of the industry and make them successful, basically. And for that, I'm really focusing on how to scale or make my current practice efficient, and as well as starting to mentor career switchers and newcomers.
Okay, cool. I mean, how's that work? Is that just organic right now? As you meet people, you'll mentor them, or you'd like have something like it's a business or official that you.
It's organic.
Okay, great. And let's maybe talk about that a little bit more because you mentioned earlier, maternity. So you mentioned a husband too. So you're a mom and a wife, and also, I mean, just how do you manage all this stuff?
Yeah, so I have two young kids, 7-year-old son and 4-year-old girl. Both me and my husband are, very career and family driven, more family driven than career driven. We really focus on, family time, 7:30 in the morning till, 8 o'clock. That's family time, no work, fully engaged with the kids. And then 5 o'clock till basically when the kids go to bed around 9, 10, that's also family time. We don't do work. Weekends, family time. And going back to the lifestyle that I want to promote. So me personally, I'm originally from China. So I take my kids in the summer back to China or go to other international trips for 5 weeks. So I don't work during the summer. And I also take 2 weeks off between Christmas and New Year's. My ideal is that it's a business with a lot of time for self-development, family time. And it is also profitable and it is providing value. So I'm like trying to hit 3 goals, right? It's a good lifestyle, it's profitable, and it also is rewarding, and see if that can be sustainable.
In your original note to me, you mentioned you're very passionate about life planning and you've implemented that. So, and I know we've had George Kinder on, and we go way back, but maybe just talk about that a little bit. Like why some people think that's silly and stupid and you shouldn't answer these touchy-feely questions, but why are you involved with the life planning movement?
Yeah, so at the beginning, it's back to my interviews of 100 people in the industry, right? And I found the people that I admire to most are actually related to life planning. So I went through the 7 stages training, which is a 2-day, full-day training, and I got a lot out of it, but I didn't feel the real power of life planning yet. There was another training provided by Louis. He is based in Netherlands, but he's also a top trainer in the Kinder Institute. And I had one-on-one session with Louis, I think right before Christmas in 2023. And he provided a vision, a little bit about life planning. So in life planning, my take is that whatever we do in financial planning doesn't mean anything if we don't put it behind our clients' life goals. Meaning money doesn't mean anything until we can make good use of it to achieve their most fulfilling life. So that's what I believe. And I personally, having gone through the life planning session, so basically it's 3 meetings, which is the core of life planning, the exploration of lay everything on the table, all your desires, all your worries, and all your wish, everything on the table. And the second meeting is vision. Basically, after learning, there is a questionnaire that we gather from our clients. After going through the questionnaire, going deeper, and conversation with the client, we will deliver a vision with a lot of details to the client of a moment that's within the next year or 2. And the goal of this vision is to really let the client feel the most important things to them in their life and make it achievable in the next couple years. And that would give them the motivation to make changes and take actions to make it happen. And then the third meeting is an obstacle. So once you are all dreamy and happy about your ideal life, now the reality hits. And here is a problem-solving time for us to actually find out the solutions. So for me, after realizing, experiencing myself and with my clients, this whole process, I feel like there's no other way around. From the clients, and it's really resource should be put to use and to achieve their most fulfilling life as soon as possible. And from the planner side, numbers are just getting bored. After so many years, you are staring at it. And it's frustrating when you see clients who has a perfect plan in hand but doesn't do anything about it, right? So that's where life planning come in. You not only you build a strong relationship with your client, they're also motivated to take action and really be in a partnership with you to make good things happen.
That's great. Yeah, just another way. I feel like a deeper way to work with your clients and developing a relationship. And I know when I use it with clients, like helping them, like, what are your goals? Okay, I want to retire. Like, no, like, what are you really passionate about? Just trying to help them uncover some of that. Because a lot of times they've never thought about it or never really had anybody ask them. So it's just a really neat framework. And that's really cool. And this has been great. Thanks for coming on and sharing the journey. And you've got a lot of cool things going on. And a few years in, you're doing well, and maybe we can have you back after your few more years under your belt just for a check-in. But is there anything else that you'd like to share or closing thoughts for any of the new planners out there before we close out?
I would say this is an exciting time for the industry. There is a huge demand from both the industry side and the market side for behavior or human-centered financial planning. And all the big brokers or custodians like Vanguard, Fidelity, Edward Jones, you name it. They're all doing behavior related, research on what makes people successful in their finances and what are the main factors that could help them going forward. And also, like the topic I'm talking about, the couples and money, is also trendy. So if you're interested, definitely jump on the bandwagon. It's not the foo-foo. There is real science and research behind it.
Got it. Prudence, this was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to coming back in a couple of years.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the New Planner Podcast. If you're ready to discover the top career paths for financial planners and see which track is best for you, we created a free guide to help you. Grab your copy of the Financial Planner Career Roadmap at newplannerrecruiting.com/roadmap. There, you'll also find more tools and resources all created to help you build a successful financial planning career. Tune back in next week for another episode, and until then, we're here to help you succeed.